The Sailor Moon series is a very misunderstood series in the Versus community due to a combination of how it's written, bad translation circulating, and the fact that most people haven't actually read it. The verse is very powerful, however, and this is going to be a very quick abridged description of roughly how strong the verse is. Even back in the first arc, when Princess Serenity first unlocked the power of the Silver Crystal, the power is compared to that of a supernova. A supernova generally emits 10 to the power of 44 joules, over 30 times baseline large star level. This is supported as when Luna is talking about a villain getting the Silver Crystal, she says that the Silver Crystal can be used to easily blow apart a star. This is despite the fact that, as later revealed, villains can't use the Silver Crystal at all, meaning this is simply the casual output of the Silver Crystal. Princess Serenity tanks this power at point-blank range and stacks on her Sailor Senshi transformation, making her massively stronger. Sailor Mercury was also able to create a superdimensional sphere late into the first arc, which is pretty interesting since it suggests she created a 4D spatial sphere. This power escalates in the second arc, where Usagi can walk around fine on Black Hole Nemesis despite being again in her civilian form. Droids can tank the surface of Nemesis as well, yet Makoto, Sailor Jupiter, can knock a droid around while in her civilian form. Later, Nemesis grows large enough to envelop the solar system, yet it is destroyed by Sailor Moon and Sailor Chibi Moon with an explosion massive in the sky despite being on the edge of the solar system. Death Phantom with just an illusory body distorted space to bring Senshi from Earth to the edge of space-time, his domain, in seconds at most, and Chibiusa merely turning into Black Lady created more chaos in space-time than there had ever been. You could argue that by the second arc the verse gets into 4-dimensional levels of power, considering that the shockwave of Black Lady putting a dark crystal pillar into the Earth transcended time and hit 900 years into the past, and it several times said that Sailor Moon's power transcended time as well. However, this gets really cemented in the third arc. The Towering Crystal, despite fading out and now only dimly glowing, is still considered infinite in power, and is not even high tier in the Sailor Moon universe. This might seem contradictory, but this is essentially dimension tiering, a way of quantifying characters with infinite or above levels of power. Essentially, think of a two-dimensional shape. It has a depth of 0, and thus will always have a volume of 0, since volume is height times length times depth. A character in a higher dimension would view a character in a lower dimension as being non-existent in power, even if they have infinite power in their own dimension. The Towering Crystal might have infinite 3D power, the Silver Crystal could have 4D power. Sailor Moon in the third arc is described even in her base form as being comparable to the Towering Crystal. This is consistent with the side story, Lover of Princess Kaguya, where Sailor Moon in her base form harmed Princess Snow Kaguya, who is powerful enough to keep the universe frozen forever. Super Sailor Moon is way stronger than base Sailor Moon. Sailor Moon, just transforming into her Super Sailor form the first time, released tens of thousands of times the power of the Towering Crystal at its peak, a crystal that is considered infinite 3D while nearly dying out. And in the fourth arc, Usagi in her civilian form was able to survive the lightning of Helios' cage, which harmed Helios. Helios is a being capable of temporarily holding off Nehelenia, who maintained a whole mirror universe to the main universe, and the Sailor Moon universe is implied to contain infinite space. Super Sailor Jupiter also just breaks the same Nehelenia space by punching from another dimension. This is not a side effect of breaking the Dark Mirror, as some suggest, as Super Sailor Moon goes on to casually destroy the same Dark Mirror with no negative effect to Nehelenia. At the end of the fourth arc, the Senshi all combine all their power, even drawing extra power from their power guardians and castles, including Chibi Moon, who uses the 30th century Silver Crystal, and Tuxedo Mask using the equal of the Silver Crystal, the Golden Crystal. This is 10 characters combining their powers, ranging from at least infinite 3D power to tens of thousands of times baseline 4D power into one attack. The Holy Grail is able to tank this power, yet Sailor Galaxia in her civilian form destroyed the Holy Grail just by pointing, and Usagi tanks the same power in civilian form, saying it was leagues above any enemy she fought previously. Usagi then adds her Eternal form onto this, when even just her Super form multiplies her power by tens of thousands of times. She then unlocks a far stronger Lambda form, which was so powerful that it restored and recreated the whole cosmos. The Sailor Moon cosmos includes numerous other parallel worlds, making this a de facto small multiverse. Lambda Usagi also completely obliterates Chaos, who is passively warping to the far reaches of space-time. There are beings even stronger than this, however they lack feats to demonstrate how much stronger they are. In conclusion, even within the first two arcs, Sailor Moon reaches into the stellar to multistellar range and possibly 4D range. In the third and fourth arcs, the verse goes up to being likely tens of thousands of times the baseline 4D range, and in the fifth arc, the verse gets at least tens of thousands of times that, if not more, and is definitely at least low multiversal. Obviously though, this is just a highly abridged explanation of the verse's raw power.